Hi there, welcome to this video about views in CollectionsIndex Web Edition. Views allow you to streamline and customize the sections and fields available when viewing, editing and searching your records. So I'm currently looking at an object record, but you can customize views for any type of record in your system, and you can control views here in this box. And so I'm currently looking at the default view for objects. All records have a default view, but for objects, because there are so many available fields, we have a more streamlined default view and then an optional full view. So again, if I just scroll down a second time, you can see the fields and sections available now. And if I switch over to the full view and scroll down now, we can see there are sections appearing like condition and technical assessment, which weren't there before. So by changing view, we've changed the fields and sections we're able to see. And this will also affect our editing form and the way we search, and I'll show you a bit more on that later. Now, views can be useful for a number of different reasons. Perhaps you want to make specific views based on different people's roles, so views based around the jobs of different users of your system. You might want to make views for different types of collections because, for example, a natural history record and an archaeology record and a fine art record might actually have quite different needs when it comes to the fields you want to have available. And finally, you might make views for different types of task. So I highlighted that condition and technical assessment section down here a few moments ago. A conservation task might require really most of all the fields filtering out just to leave condition and conservation fields, or if somebody is appraising valuation information, again, they might want to get rid of non-relevant fields. So you might want to make views for special tasks. And because views are so easy to make and edit and delete, you might set up some very temporary views for projects and then delete them, or you could set up views which are more permanent, useful tools, depending on how you are using your system. In order to create and edit views, there are a couple of ways to do this. From the Views drop down here, you can click on the cog and click on Manage Views, and that will take you to the Views Manager. Alternatively, if you open up the side menu and scroll down, you can click on Views in here. It doesn't really matter which way around you do it, whichever works best for you. And they will both take you to the same page, which is the Views page. And here you can create and manage the views you have available. So the first thing you want to do is select the type of record you want to edit views for. Note that we're currently looking at objects, but you can create views for all different types of records in the system. So we're just going to use objects as our example. Once you've set your record type, you can preview existing views in your system here. So here's the full view. Here's all the sections, and if we click on the boxes, we can open out sections and see what fields and field groups live inside them. And you can just see the difference this makes if I swap from full to default. Much fewer sections available in the default view. So you can see the difference that makes. Now, full and default come with the system, so that note they can't be edited or deleted. But if we had other views in here, we could select those and we could edit them and delete them if we needed to. But what we're going to do now is create a new view. So let's pretend that we are maybe doing some condition checking. We want to make a bespoke view for that. So I'm giving my view a name. I'll then choose if it's private or not. So by default, views will be private and only you will be able to see the view that you've created when you log in. It will be linked to your user login effectively. However, if you untick this box, any user in the system will be able to access your view. So that's something to bear in mind when you're creating these. For now, I'm going to leave it as private. And now you just need to build your view using these sections and fields down on the left and dragging across the sections you need. Or even creating whole new sections yourself. So I'll run through the different ways you can build your view. The first thing you can do is simply drag a whole section over. Now the parts section is pretty useful. It's where our responsible department and parts fields live. And of course, that's where things like object number, object location are accessed. So that feels pretty crucial. So we're definitely going to have the parts section. And maybe we also want the images section as well. And we can just drag over sections like that. And maybe we want the identification section. And so it's as simple as clicking and dragging. Once we've dragged some sections over, we can customize them further. So if I open up identification, you can see all the fields inside here. And note it's really easy to reorder these fields. So if I want comments at the top, I can drag that up there. And perhaps I don't really want to know what the title, the official artistic title of a work is. And I can actually right click on elements and remove them completely from my view. So you can customize the fields you see within each section and you can change the order. The other thing you can do, if I just drag across another section here, you can rename sections. So here's condition and technical assessment. I can right click on that and notice I can rename it. So I'm going to call it condition ID, just as an example. And then maybe I decide that I don't really want to include the technical assessment field, and I want the hazard to be at the top because that's quite important. And in fact, I want this whole section to be much more prevalent, so I'm going to move it right up below parts. So it's really close to the top when I'm looking at my record. Now, the other thing you can do with these is create whole new sections which are empty and you fill them with fields. So I could right click, click add new section, and we're going to call this, let's call this display conditions. Notice this is empty, I can't open it out, and now I can just drag fields into that section. So maybe it will open up requirements, and I could drag over environmental recommendations into there, and maybe we'll put some handling recommendations in there as well, and some storage recommendations. And provided I'm happy, I can save that view. And my view has now been successfully saved. And now it appears over here on the left as a saved view. And note I can click on edit to edit it, or I can click delete to delete it. And I can swap between that and existing views by clicking the drop down menu. However, it's now time to return to looking at object record, and let's just see what difference a new view, a new bespoke view makes when we're looking at editing and searching for our records. So I have returned to the object record. My view is set to condition checking. That's the new view I just made, and we can see the difference that's made to our records. We have that renamed section below here with the condition information in, right underneath the parts section. We have images, we have identification, but the eagle-eyed amongst you may notice that not all the sections and fields that I dragged over are appearing here, and that's because when we're viewing a record, as you might know, we only see non-empty fields. However, if we look at the edit form, we can see the kind of full scale of our view with both empty and non-empty fields. So if I go to edit this record, note that I stay set to this view until I manually change it. And if I expand all my sections, we can see we have the parts section, all the fields available. We have the condition ID section, which we renamed and customized slightly. For example, you may remember we put this hazards group at the top. We've got our image section. We've got identification. Again, I think we put the comments at the top here. And then we've got our display conditions section, which we created from scratch and dragged some fields over into this section. So we can see how that affects what we can and can't see when we're editing. And just to underpin this, those are the sections in our condition checking. And if I do set this back to full, collapse all sections, yeah, you can see just how many sections of there are in that full view and what a difference it makes to create your own view and streamline the fields you see. Now there is one other implication for views, and that's when we're running searches. So I'm going to go to my object search page. I can leave this. I'm not actually going to make any changes. And if we go to advanced search, notice that the view we have set affects our search. So at the moment in the full view, I can search any field in objects. Lots and lots of options there. But if I set my view back to condition checking, reopen the advanced search, you can note there are much fewer fields available because I can only search the fields that are available in my view. So that's a quick look at views, what they do, how to make your own. Do try them out, and if you have any questions or need any support, you can always reach out to us here at System Simulation, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.